What would you recommend to people in that situation if another family member is trying to offer candy or sugar and the parent isn't quite sure, hasn't really introduced that yet to their child?
Yeah, it's definitely an awkward phase. And I think a lot of times, parents who put in a lot of effort to curate the diet and the menu for their kids to be very healthy and to avoid the sweets and avoid all those things can get really upset when, somebody else, a well-meaning family member, decides to offer something that maybe you personally don't want your child to have. I recall this one time when my older daughter was younger and my in-laws were babysitting her. And, I kind of left the basic instructions around, okay, here's her bottle, here's her food, everything was kind of laid out. And my father-in-law just took it upon himself to take her pacifier and he was dipping it in his ginger ale soda and letting her suck on the pacifier. I mean, this apparently went on for like an entire can of ginger ale that she was able to then drink through a pacifier. And when I got home and found out about it, I was so mad at him and so upset. But the reality is you have to just let it go. I mean, the reality is, yes, you can have these conversations and say, like, this is what we're trying to do. But there's always going to be that grandparent or that quirky aunt or uncle that's not going to really care and just going to give you what they want. That's their way of showing love. It's their way of just doing whatever. So I tell people, try not to take it too seriously if you're in-law especially, does something like that. But I also think it's important to be upfront with family members and say, hey, we're really trying to get our son or daughter off on the right foot here, health-wise. And I also think it can help if you have a connection. Like I know for me, I didn't grow up in the healthiest home food-wise. My parents didn't know any better. We always had junk food, sodas, and things like that. And, so for me, it's more of like, I don't want my kids to experience that. I was overweight when I was a kid. I struggled with that. And I don't want that to be a problem for my kids. So my husband and I are choosing to do it differently. And I think if you can kind of characterize, I'm not just trying to be some difficult person that doesn't want my kid to eat cookies because I heard they're bad, but just say, hey, I'm really trying to make sure that they get the healthiest foods possible because of all the health effects from all of these foods we know could be really detrimental moving forward. So, this is why we're doing it. I think that people then resonate with it and they kind of start to think about, okay, yeah, you know what? There is a lot of health dangers linked to these foods and too much sugar isn't good for your kid and they'll be more respectful of it.